Hi, I'm Samir Jain, and I'd like to speak about American trade protectionism. Even in the periods more often cited by folks as successes, not only has that imposed immense economic costs on us American consumers and the broader economy, but I think it has also failed to achieve its primary policy aims and has fostered political dysfunction all along the way. So US trade barriers hurt citizens as consumers, as taxpayers, as workers, as producers, and as investors. So whenever we spend more taxpayer funds on something, families have less money to spend on themselves and on their own needs. This is Economics 101. We would be better off if we simply undertook our own reforms on tariffs, on regulation, and other artificial impediments to commerce without regard for what other governments do. So US policy continues to accommodate egregious amounts of protectionism. We have Buy American rules that restrict most government procurement spending to US suppliers. Steel and aluminum, these are key intermediate goods in the production process of other manufacturers. So I find it difficult to see how raising the price of steel will help customers and workers in industries that do not consume steel, I beg your pardon, rather than produce it. And the impact is likely to be much higher product prices for consumers or shrinking businesses. So protectionism has not only produced far higher total economic costs than benefits, but also, more often than not, it has failed even to achieve its basic intended objective, whether that be a rejuvenation of an ailing American industry and its workforce, or the opening of new US export markets. The other thing is also heavily protected service industries such as air service and shipping. All of these drive up transportation costs and raise the prices of nearly everything Americans consume. Farm subsidies, we also have quotas and high tariffs on imported sugar. We have high tariffs on basic consumer products such as clothing and footwear. There are energy export restrictions, and of course the market distorting Exim Bank. There are anti-dumping duties which strangle downstream industries. They also tax consumers. There's a lot of regulatory protectionism which is masquerading as public health and safety precautions. There are protectionist rules of origin and local content requirements that limit trade's benefits. So all of these effects are beginning to be felt with companies, US companies, losing contracts to foreign suppliers as they pass these cost increases in the form of higher prices. And others have cancelled plans to expand or are even considering relocating manufacturing plants to Europe or Canada. And even if the tariffs themselves do not bite too hard for a particular business, the uncertainty inherent in current US policy may deter folks from making investments. So as far as I'm concerned, the empirical evidence is clear-cut. The costs of protectionist trade policies far exceed the benefits, and the losses suffered by consumers exceed the gains that are reaped by domestic producers and governments. And you know what? Low-income consumers are relatively more adversely affected than high-income consumers. So all in all, we should all oppose what's happening, and I hope that these trade wars do not go really out of control. Thank you for listening in.